A lot of people visit places like Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, or the Philippines on vacation and are in awe of the absolute great value that they find. They can enjoy amazing amenities that they could never enjoy in their home country. Others may start working in countries like Japan or Korea and decide to take their yen or their Korean won and convert it into baht or rupees or Filipino dollars. But no matter how you get here, it's definitely not as easy to survive as you may think. Now, I got my start in Asia in Japan, and while you can definitely go off the rails somewhat and guide and smash your way through a lot of things, there is still a sense of law and order. In fact, many foreigners have found themselves detained, cited, or investigated just like they would in their own home country. Enter Southeast Asia. In a place like Thailand, where you can buy a street meal for as little as $1, and in Indonesia, where a bribe can be as little as $10, people can start to think they can buy themselves out of any situation. And undoubtedly, with enough money, people probably can. But for this video, we're going to focus on the middle class, the blue-collar workers of the world who chose to expatriate to Southeast Asia or retire there, and to see all of the ways it can go wrong.
And every day between 2 and 5, they serve like 8 plates of food for 100 pesos, and that includes an iced tea.
The first time you ever buy some tasty street food for the equivalent of about $1 US, or rent a really nice apartment for less than $500, it becomes attainable to live here for less than $1,000 a month. But is that really true?
6,000 baht per month. I paid 3 months in advance and signed a 3-month lease, so I will be here for at least 3 months.
Yes, you can live anywhere in Southeast Asia for about a month for less than $1,000 on a backpacker's budget. But the difference is, when you're truly living somewhere, is that you need to have a proper life, one that includes a budget for visas, taxes, replacing phones when they get lost in motor taxis, going to the clinic for healthcare. And after you grow tired of eating street food for every meal, you're gonna want to eat some comfort food. Maybe it's fish and chip, or maybe it's a steak. But Western food in Asia isn't cheap. It may be cheaper than back home, but if you eat it more than a few times a month, you're gonna blow that $1,000 budget right out.
Of life here in Thailand, and it's not just because it's cheaper. A lot of people think that moving here for cost savings is the way to go, but I don't think that's the main reason you should move here. Yes, it's cheaper than if you're living in a Western country, but you have to like the culture, you have to like the people, you have to like the food. If you move here just to save money and you're not interested in the culture, you're gonna hate it.
Now, a lot of Westerners that you're gonna meet in Asia are running from something. Maybe not legally, but maybe an ex-wife, maybe mental illness, maybe they have financial burdens, maybe they have drug or alcohol problems, and they come to Asia to start over.
Where I talk about me being in a mental institution. Now, granted, I wasn't in there for a long time. I was only in there for a couple weeks. Basically just said fuck everything and I quit my job. I stopped paying for my pickup truck. I got it repossessed. I took all my money that I saved up from landscaping and just my other job I had as a truck driver. And I just bought a one-way ticket to Thailand. I went to Thailand for a little while, to Chiang Mai, Thailand. And then I came here to Cambodia.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you have a mental illness in your own country, you're now going to be in a country with the same mental illness that doesn't speak your language. If you had a drug or alcohol problem in your home country, now you're in a country where you can party around the clock and there is nobody there to tell you to stop. Part of what keeps most of us civil back home are those societal norms that we've grown up with. Not to say a lot of people don't skirt or break the law, but most of us also understand there are legal and social consequences for doing so. Plus, if you live in a small town, most people don't actually want to be known as the town drunk, the cheater, the financial deadbeat.
$2,000 a month, they pay for your airfare, you would get medical insurance.
But in Asia, for the most part, there's nobody there to pull you into line. You are far from family and long-term friends. The locals, for the most part, don't care about whatever you were up to as long as you're not bothering them. And the fast fly-by-night crew that you're out drinking with, they certainly won't call you out on any kind of behavior.
Why am I doing this here in Korea? I had never done this in the States. And there was something of that sort of abuse of someone else's home. It's not yours, so you don't care as much.
In Japan, they call it the Gaijin Smash, and in Thailand, it's called the Phalong Pass. But essentially means acting in a way in a guest country that you wouldn't back home, and that you kind of know is wrong, but you just do it anyway because you know nobody's gonna call you out on it. Add to the fact that alcohol and drugs can be cheap as hell, and day drinking can become the norm. After a bit of this, what before was inconceivable is now something that's done on a regular basis. Lots of guys tend to end up with girls they may have met in red light districts who end up taking them for all they're worth.
I think that maybe it's because it's less mixture. It's more like one nation, Filipinos, then you will always be an outsider.
I think I counted 9 or 10 foreigners walking around the boulevard Christmas Eve by themselves.
It's common among expats in Asia to not have one good friend from that country. So it's easy to become isolated or rely on the guys that you go out drinking with for advice. Also, not having a fluent grasp on the language will always keep you in the dark on a lot of things that you can handle by yourself with ease back home. Stuff like getting an apartment, buying a car, understanding a contract, dealing with doctors. Most of this real life stuff will all come up at some point for you, and it can be incredibly frustrating not to be able to handle it yourself. Now, it doesn't matter if you come to Southeast Asia as a fresh 20-year-old or a retired 60-year-old. The longer you are here, the more you're going to be hit with a big reality check. If you came here with limited funds, doing things like getting the latest iPhone, going to the dentist, getting new clothes, all that will take a back seat. A lot of expats end up returning to their home country due to medical issues.
The reality of the situation is I have moved back to America. I'm no longer in Thailand, obviously. It looks like I'm going to be living with several roommates to start off with, obviously for financial reasons, obviously. Am I looking forward to that? In a certain way, yes, because it's nice that I have a place to go. At least I know I'm not going to end up in a homeless shelter.
Some end up broke and living in a third world brick hut somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Sadly, some end up in jail or die, not having the ability to maintain control of their primal urges.
People say that the American embassy bought a plane ticket for me to come back to America. Now that is true. It's not the whole story, but I'm gonna tell you guys why I left Cambodia the way I did and the things that led me to leave Cambodia. Over in Cambodia, drugs like Valium and Xanax and OxyContin and Tramadol and morphine are readily accessible at any kind of pharmacy, pretty much any pharmacy. And as you all know, throughout my adult life, have very much struggled with insomnia.
In conclusion, things aren't always as easy as they seem. Ignore the bright, shiny things. Focus on what you know from back home and apply that to your new country. Hopefully that will prevent you from meeting the fate that many have met here.